Hi, Pete Knowles. A question I often get asked is, what should I buy for my first luxury watch? Most people, when they think of luxury watch, they think Rolex. And there's a lot that goes into selecting your first Rolex. It is a big purchase. And so I thought I'd try to break it down into a couple segments to help you along with your decision. The first being, which watch should I choose? And then the second being, from where should I get this watch? So one of the first considerations when choosing your watch would be the watch size. For the ladies, when we're talking Rolex, you're probably looking at 26 millimeter, 31 millimeter, or 36 millimeter, potentially on the larger side. For the men's sizes, you're thinking 36 millimeter, there's a 39, 40, and then there's some larger 42, 44 millimeter watches when you get up into the Sky Dweller or the Deep Sea. I have a couple examples here. For example, a 40 millimeter case, and this is one of the older cases that is slimmer, thinner, and it's a nice size sport watch, but this is the 40 millimeter. Another size down is a 36 millimeter. This is a 36 millimeter Datejust, which works still well with most men's wrists and makes a nice dress watch. Things you'll take into consideration when looking at size is, what do you want to wear it for? Is it for dressy occasions, or for casual or sport? And so you'll try different ones on and decide which size that you like. But for most men, the 40 millimeter is kind of the sweet spot. The next thing that you might consider when selecting a watch is the style of watch. What style of watch do you like? Is it going to be a dress watch, an everyday watch, or potentially a sport watch, a diver, or a GMT potentially? And so Rolex has a variety of watches for each of these different categories. For the everyday watch, one of the most common is going to be the Explorer. And historically they make those in 36 millimeter, but now they make them in 39 and 40. And so that's probably the best casual everyday watch that they have. There's the Datejust, which is 36 millimeter and 41 millimeter. And that's a very versatile watch that can be used either, dress up or dress down. There is the Rolex Submariner, which used to be made in 40 millimeter. Now they're 41 and the cases have gotten a lot larger. The case used to be similar to the GMT or identical. This is the same case size as the older Submariner models with the same bezel, same thickness, and but now the cases are much thicker. And then there's other models, Sky Dweller, Day Date, also known as a Presidential, which are usually solid gold, white gold. And so you can go through and look at all of the different styles and decide which one speaks to you, and taking into consideration size, because there can be varying sizes for each model, and narrow down which one is the one for you. And so now we get down to price. One of the biggest issues when selecting a watch is the price. And can you afford the watch that you actually want? We've all been in that position before when you're collecting watches. And so let's talk about that. Now, it can range from anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 up into the tens of thousands, and even over 100,000 depending on which model you're looking for. The all steel models are obviously going to be less in most cases than the solid gold models, unless you get into the more sought after sport models, Daytonas and things, where the prices can actually be similar between the two. And so you'll need to find your budget and try to find the watch that fits with your budget, keeping in mind that these things retain value. They're easy to sell should you need that money back, and often, in a lot of cases, the watch will appreciate over time. And so now for part two, now that I've chosen the watch, let's say that I've decided on a 36 millimeter Datejust, and I want a black dial with a Jubilee bracelet, similar to what you see here. And where do I find it? So generally there are 3 different places or categories of sources where you can find the Rolex that you've chosen. The first, which is probably the least likely that you'll be successful in finding your watch, is an authorized dealer. One of the most surprising things to people when they start getting into watches and looking at Rolex is that they learn quickly that you go to an authorized dealer and nothing's available. There are these wait lists, or they tell you that there's a wait list, and often the watches aren't even in the store for you to try on or look at. There may be some less desirable ladies models or different things that are actually available, but for the most part, you're not going to find the watch that you want at an authorized dealer unless you have a really well-established relationship with them, and they will contact you when they have the watch that you want. And so where else do you look? Well, there are 2 other places. One is what some people refer to as gray market. These are retailers, usually online, that have new watches, but they do not carry a manufacturer's warranty. And they can go for less than retail. There can be discounts, or if they're the more desirable models, they can be sold from these gray market dealers over retail. Some of the positives of a gray market dealer are availability. You may be able to find the watch that you want for sale. Often they do not require sales tax or have free shipping. And they'll also have some sort of return policy. What are the drawbacks? Well, you're not getting a new watch in a lot of cases. It's new-ish. It may be a return, but it's not necessarily going to come with all of the packaging, the warranty card, and it's not going to have the warranty from the manufacturer like it would if you got it through an authorized dealer. Next, there are secondhand or pre-owned dealers, and these can be really good sources for watches, or they can be really bad. It just depends. There are jewelers and there are watch dealers that are very reputable who will ensure that the watch is 100% authentic and working well, even serviced before they will sell it to you. And this can be a really good source for watches because you can often find the watch that you want, and you have the ability in some cases to negotiate a price, and you know that it's authentic and it's going to be working well. Often you can find watches that are in excellent or even mint condition from some of these retailers that come with all of the packaging, warranty cards, booklets, and everything that you would get when you purchase a watch from Rolex. This is an older model from the 80s that is an Air King that I purchased, and it came with everything. Beautiful condition. It's kind of a neo-vintage watch, which is kind of the era of Rolex that I like the most, and purchased from a secondhand or a pre-owned dealer. Great transaction, great price, and And so that is the third category of place where you can find a watch. Often some of those pre-owned dealers, jewelers, watch stores will not charge tax if you purchase it from them on their website or through bank wire and that sort of thing. And they often provide their own warranty, in-house warranty. Other places where these dealers operate is on eBay and a website called Chrono24. There are some drawbacks to those. Often the prices can be elevated. There's a lot of people on there bidding and seeking out watches. There's going to be sales tax and shipping issues, which can be a headache. But there are a lot of watches available that can be found through those different sources. So first you identify the watch that you want that fits with your budget. Then you go out and find it. And the search for the watch can be the most fun part. So good luck in your watch search, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you should have any questions about gray market dealers, potential jewelers, or secondhand watch dealers where you might go to find a watch, I'm happy to share my experiences and which may be good choices or not so good choices. Just drop me a question in the comment and I'll be happy to share that. Good luck.